It's troubling. We're clearly in a sovereign debt bubble.
That's Paul Tudor Jones, one of the greatest traders and macro investors of all time. He thinks that this sovereign debt crisis might be a problem. He also said this:
Bitcoin is unequivocally the best inflation hedge that there is.
Today, we break down why investors like Paul Tudor Jones are considering Bitcoin versus stocks. We highlight some of the best clips from Bitcoin Vegas 2026 that you might not have seen. And if you stay to the end, we share why Michael Saylor believes $100 billion worth of capital is coming after $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. Supply shock for the ages. Rally from here? I don't know, but we'll cover it all today of this episode of Bitcoin Simply. Let's go.
Why you got the weird look all over your face?
Claire's mom just made me grab her Hooters.
That wasn't Claire's mom. You work for JPMorgan. That's Lorne the Horny, the JPMorgan executive who apparently drugged and forced one of her associates to have sex with her threatening his career if he didn't. You told your buddy this was happening? Here's what he said to you.
What, a hot older woman made you feel her cans? Stop crying like a little girl.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself. That's what it takes to work at JPMorgan, son. Don't fool around with that Bitcoin stuff. That's for criminals.
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, etc. You pointed out the only true use case for it is criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance.
No, my friend, that title is reserved for the one and only JPMorgan. While you're in trauma from still being drugged to climb the ladder, your friend asks you what you did with them.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboating son of a bitch. You old sailor, you.
Here's my advice to all young professionals looking for a career in finance. Don't motorboat your boss. Buy Bitcoin. It's simpler. But nonetheless, the lies about Bitcoin will continue, especially as it continues to gain momentum and global adoption. They will even lie to you at a Bitcoin conference in front of tens of thousands of Bitcoiners. Listen to this.
I'm thrilled to be out here. I started mining Bitcoin about 20 years ago when I was working in the intelligence community. Somewhere in some dumpster, there is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of Bitcoin that's been mined. We threw it out, but here we are 20 years down the road.
Bitcoin was founded in 2009. 20 years ago puts it at 2006. And you wouldn't have fractions and fractions of a coin. You would have had dozens and dozens of coins if you were mining at that time. The lie is so easily spotted. But here's the truth of where Bitcoin actually is. Not a lie. It's unequivocally the best money out there. Better than gold.
And then in 2020, when you saw, again, all the interventions, both by the central bank and the Treasury, you just knew that the inflation trades were going to take off. And what was, of all of them, what was the best one? At that point in time, it was Bitcoin. Bitcoin is unequivocally the best inflation hedge that there is, more than gold, because Bitcoin is finite. There's only so much Bitcoin that can be mined.
Bitcoin is here to stay and it cannot be debased. It has a finite supply, and that's why it's the best money in the world. That's why it's the best hedge against inflation. People are unaware of the real implications of inflation in the sovereign debt bubble that we're in right now. If you think the stock market will save you, think again. The numbers of debt that we're seeing right now are unparalleled and unprecedented. I know we talk about that word all the time, but don't take it from me. Take it from Paul Tudor Jones, one of the greatest investors of all time. Here's what he had to say about where we're at in the crisis.
We're clearly so leveraged in equities in this country. We're so dependent upon firm equity prices at this point in time. And when I say leveraged, we're 252% of stock market cap to GDP. So 1929, we were, I think at the top, we were 65%. And then in 87, we got to about 85 or 90%. In 2000, we got to 170%. And now we're at 252. So you can just imagine, if you think about the periodicity of significant bear markets, since 1970, we get kind of a mean reversion about, on average, every 10 years. When I say mean reversion, let's say mean revert to the past 25 or 30 year PE. So if we did that here, that would be, and again, these are elevated PEs, way elevated beyond the 20th century. That would be say a 30, 35% decline. Well, 35% on 250% of GDP is 89% of GDP. The reverse wealth effect, oh my gosh, 10% of our tax revenues or capital gains, they go to zero. So you can see the budget deficit blowing up, you can see the bond market getting smoked, you can see this kind of negative self-reinforcing effect. And so it's troubling. We're clearly in a sovereign debt bubble. In the stock market, we're over-equitized as a country, have the highest individual equity weightings in the history of the country. And then the real problem is, if you look at private equity in 2007, 2008, that was about 7% of institutional portfolios. Now it's about 16% of the institutional portfolios. Real estate's gone up. Infrastructure bets have gone up. We're so much more liquid than we were in 2008. So you have to be cognizant of that fact when you think about.
We have more debt than GDP of our country for the first time in history. We haven't seen these debt levels since World War II. People think that stock market always goes up, but there are years and decades where that doesn't happen. Paul Tudor Jones recommends owning hard assets in these times of extended valuations and global debt to GDP imbalances like we're in right now. These sorts of periods create destruction for people all over the world. They call them lost decades. And that's true for people in the United States and also true for people in countries that don't have the luxury of having the reserve world currency. People who can't afford to move their money in and out of stocks and to borrow on margin like we can, at ease and ad infinitum with tools like Robinhood and other exchanges. Wealth creation isn't as simple for everybody else. Bitcoin is not only the perfect money for the wealthy people, but for the least of these. It's a tool to unlock the world from the tyranny and shackles of authoritarian regimes and broken money. This is one of the most powerful clips from Bitcoin Vegas in 2026 that you probably didn't see. Thank you to all of the developers out there who are protecting this protocol and upgrading it for things like quantum computing, who are thinking about the implications for not only the wealthy people, but also the disenfranchised in Bitcoin. It's the perfect tool for anyone in the age of AI, government overreach, and tracking. Take this from Miles Suter, the head of global product for Block, formerly Square.
Bitcoin is the only truly censorship-resistant money that there is right now. And as we're moving into this AI world, and as we're moving into every single thing being recorded and watched and permissioned, I truly think that if we don't preserve peer-to-peer digital cash right now, it's a right that we're going to lose, and we're going to lose forever. And so I take that as a responsibility to lead the charge. And the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is it's not just us benefiting, it's the whole community. And so Strike is interoperable, Phoenix is interoperable, and we're laying the groundwork. We're thinking on a really long timeline, and we have the luxury of being able to do that because we think it's the best long-term decision in the long run. But if you look towards the future, if you ask any government right now, like, would you, if something new came out of nowhere and they're laying down the laws and the financial laws, does anybody here think that they would institute this concept of cash? To me, it's a relic from an earlier time, and one that we need to cherish, because from my view, it looks like around the world, every government wants to get rid of this. They want to see every payment, they want to control every payment, and I think that's a really scary thing in the AI world. And so
Bitcoin is a tool for freedom. It's a tool for money. And it's not only liberating us from the shackles of AI and government overreach, it's removing us from the oligopoly of the payment network that have control over the merchants and all of the products that we buy today. We're seeing the fruits of the Bitcoin proposition play out in real time. For disenfranchised people, for people looking to store their wealth and their money, people trying to protect themselves from the government, and also merchants. But before we get to that, let's thank our sponsors. Ledn has been the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans since 2018. They've allowed people who've stored their wealth and their value in Bitcoin, the perfect money, to not enter back into the existing system. With Ledn, you can borrow from your Bitcoin without any capital gains and without having to sell your Bitcoin. It's not rehypothecated, and that's why they're the most trusted system out there. Borrow up to half of the value of your Bitcoin stack without any capital gains, getting that liquidity in your account in less than 6 hours without a credit check. Don't enter back into the existing financial system. Use the alternative system. Go to learn.ledn.io/simply to get started. And one of the ways you can remove yourself from the existing system, banks like JPMorgan, and take true sovereignty over your keys to remove them from the criminals that they are, well, you can work with the team at The Bitcoin Way. They'll walk you through how to become your own bank, how to set up your own node, so you and your family and everyone else can be sovereign, fully sovereign in the event of a banking crisis. Hold your own keys. Schedule a free minute with a coach and a team member at the Bitcoin Way by going to thebitcoinway.com/partner/Dante-Cook.
For me, money is the market good. I don't live in it. I don't eat it. I don't fly it. I don't drive it. So when people use real estate as money, I think that's bad money, right? So Bitcoin to me is perfect money. I can't wear it in a rap video. I can't put it in jewelry. I can't eat it. I can't live in it. I can't fly it across the ocean. It's a market good that's perfect for allowing me to save and then later exchange the value I've created.
This isn't just some pie-in-the-sky idea from Jack Mallers who's pontificating on stage at Bitcoin 2026. This is a real story that's playing out in real time. Since Steak and Shake has adopted Bitcoin, not only has their stock exploded in value, but they've also sent money to their bottom line in the form of not paying exorbitant credit card fees. Listen to what their executive team has to say about why they're stepping more and more into Bitcoin and why it's valuable for not only you, the consumer, but for them as the merchant.
The math is simple for us. When we use Bitcoin, we save 50% on processing fees versus a traditional credit card user. To put it more simply, if every credit card user used Bitcoin, we would save roughly $6 million annually, which is huge for our bottom line.
Bitcoin is a tool that everyone needs, people don't understand, and that no one can stop. This is Michael Saylor's big thesis. And not only that, the avalanche hasn't even begun yet. He says that there's $100 billion worth of capital going after $10 billion of Bitcoin supply. A supply shock for the ages.
Well, I think Bitcoin's going to rally. I think there's a lot of capital flowing into Bitcoin right now, and at the rate that digital credit is forming, and at the rate you saw our buy this morning, we bought the entire supply last week. Then Strive announced a massive buy. Then there's a massive bank credit coming online. All the big banks, JPMorgan, Citi, Schwab, Morgan Stanley, Barclays, they're all coming online. So I think the formation of, you're talking about between 20 and $100 billion worth of credit formation in the next 12 months. And there's only $10 billion of Bitcoin naturally available for sale. So I think that we're setting up a massive supply shock. There ought to be a rally in BTC. I think that'll catalyze a rally in all the Bitcoin treasury companies. I think it will cause a rally in demand for digital credit. I think there'll be a rally in bank credit.
Bitcoin will rally. The big money is coming. The developers are building. The greatest investors of all time understand that we're in a sovereign debt crisis and that Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. What's not to like? Bitcoin is the best investment vehicle right now, not the stock market. Don't take it from me. Take it from the legends. Don't believe the lies. And if your boss tells you to touch your Hooters, instead walk away and buy some Bitcoin. Or as Vince Vaughn might say, suck it up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, do so. We drop fire, heat, and value like this 7 days a week. And if you want to get involved with Bitcoin by not just buying Bitcoin from an exchange, we'll get started with a company like SAS Mining, the leader in Bitcoin mining through clean 100% renewable energy. You send them money, they buy a Bitcoin machine on your behalf, one that you pick out and that you select. They manage the contract, they keep it repaired, they keep it running, they keep it up, and they send sats directly to your wallet. What's not to like? Use the QR code on the screen to get started. This is Dante-Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking and happy Friday, you motorboat and son of... Happy stacking.